Electrocast.
There's a change happening in the way we live, the way we work, the way we spend our money and make our decisions. We are evolving to be more conscious in our actions in a way that serves the world and makes it a better place. Welcome to the Ethical Evolution. The Ethical Evolution podcast is brought to you by Ethical Change Agency. I'm Bindi, I'm the founder, and my mission is to help ethical entrepreneurs and holistic healers to find their voice through spiritual coaching and podcasting. I'm honoured to bring you the stories of those who create change through healing, kindness, innovation, purpose, and spirit. Understanding that to create collective change, we need to be the change. It all begins with us. Lucy Liu is a global business strategist and certified life coach, helping business owners and high-performing women get unstuck, kiss overwhelm goodbye, cultivate rockstar confidence, see clarity, reach dream goals, and live an epic life. She's the author of 2 international best-selling books, The Rising Sisterhood and Asian Women Who Boss Up. She also inspires as the host of her weekly podcast, The Lucy Liu Show, which is the fueling station for your mind, business, and life. Join me as I search for the wisdom we all seek from a coach like Lucy, who can help us find our confidence, mindset, and clarity that leads us to an epic life. Welcome, Lucy, to the Ethical Evolution.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. Now, I've got to get this out of the way, Lucy. When people see your name, they're probably going, and her girl Drew, am I right?
Yeah, I'm not the Lucy Liu, right?
No, but yeah, you were probably famous before she was. But anyway, for those people who don't know who you are, can you go ahead and tell us?
So I am life coach Lucy Liu, author, speaker, and podcast host of The Lucy Liu Show. And we can talk a little bit about how that went.
Yeah, awesome. And we've got so much to unpack here today because you and I have got so much in common, which is why we're here. And as you said, you're a podcaster too, and you're coming to us from Los Angeles today. One of the things I want to ask you, Lucy, in the work that you do, and also just in your daily life, I mean, you've had an interesting background as well. You know, you moved to LA, you started a life there, and you moved around as well. You went to Taiwan, and tell us a bit of your background to start with.
So I was born in China, grew up in Los Angeles, married off to Taiwan, a country I've never been to. And I personally transformed my own life from feeling overstressed, unhappy, unhealthy, at one point to now really living my life of true joy, fulfillment, and mindfulness. And that's what I love for others. So that's why I'm here to help and inspire other women to make that kind of life-changing transformations as well. So I now look back in my life, I've definitely made many bold moves in my life to create this more aligned and fulfilled life. But yeah, there was curveballs along the way, but lessons to be learned. And I am ready to tell you anything you ask me.
So would you say the majority of the women that you work with now are entrepreneurs, or are they regular stay-at-home mums, or who is coming to you?
Most of them are business owners, and many of them are executives, leaders in their own line of work. But even the most powerful women tend to temporarily forget their power. And that's where I come in, is to always have that bird's eye view, to shift the perspective to staying positive in life.
And, you know, there's probably women listening to this who are going, look, there's so many coaches in the world. Why the hell do I need a coach? But it's one of those things, and I actually spoke to a master coach from the Franklin Covey Institute who gave me the best advice ever, and that was, you know, think of an athlete like an Olympian. They got a coach, right? And they wouldn't be hugely successful unless they had a coach helping them propel even higher than they currently would be without them. So it's the same in any other facet of life, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was funny. Growing up, I never knew coaching was a career because many of my friends even talked about this when I first started coaching, that we always thought having a coach was a luxury. Like we thought having a coach was for only the top executive or celebrities or people just, not us, everyday Joe, normal people. We didn't have the luxury of having coaches as we grew up. And I was like, man, if I worked with a coach when I was in college or when I first started work, this process, this transformation process would have been so much expedited, right?
And this is it. There's so many women probably in their 30 to 40 age bracket at the moment who really want to break through and have that really top tier success. But they're struggling and they're just pushing so hard. And we hear the word hustle all the time. And it doesn't need to be like that, does it? Like if they just think smarter, not harder, they could get there a lot sooner.
Well, hustling works, right? We have to work hard to get to where we want to go,
Absolutely.
but it only works for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's good short term, but then you're going to work too hard and eventually burn yourself out. So it's really about having the right strategies. And like you talked about, working more doesn't mean you're going to accomplish more. And I'm all about working less and accomplishing more.
So how do you help women do that?
So it's really about breaking down and removing the mindset blocks and the false beliefs, because so many of us, we're wasting time even overthinking, right? That's where the overwhelm comes in, because we're actually spending time on overthinking. I had a client who told me once that she just spent an hour yesterday overthinking about how she has been overthinking lately.
That's hilarious, isn't it?
Right? Because it happens. We think we're being productive. We think we're working more. But really, if your mindset is not at where it's at, you're really wasting time just working more.
So if there's someone listening to this and they're like, yeah, but come on, just tell me what I need to do. What do I need to do, Lucy? Like, what are the 5 tips that you would give to a woman right now if she really wants to make the most of her time and succeed?
Wow. I have so many tips I can give. And that's why I wrote an entire book. It's called 21 Decisions to Live Your Best Life. And the title is Confident and Epic. Because it is your daily decisions that's going to get you to where you want to be. It's the daily decisions that you make now that your future self will thank you for, right? Because we have all the things we want and we have to make the decision to do so. Everything you want is only one decision away. And people often get stuck because they are like, oh, I can't make up my mind, right? Do I want A or B? Which way is it? And they're stuck on this decision. But maybe A or B is not even where you want to be. So you need to make decisions based on where you want to go instead of just choosing two options that you can't even make up a decision, right? So I always think decision making is a big part of how you get up in the day and go about your life. And also confidence is a decision. I think confidence is not something you're born with. It's not something you don't have and other people have, right? And confidence is not about how loud you are. It's not about decibels. It's about, again, a decision for you to show up for who you want to be, embodying that version and just doing it.
Amazing. And yeah, it's one of those things I think, if people could grab your book, that's going to be almost like the manual for making it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And comes with a journaling prompt after each chapter, what kind of decisions you need to make. And it comes out September 8th.
Ooh, love it. Love it, love it, love it. So there's a couple of things I want to unpack here, Lucy. One is just as you were talking, I was thinking, intuition plays a big part here too, doesn't it? So like when you were saying, what is it you really want? Is it A or B? What does your gut tell you? You know, like what, listen to yourself and was it telling you? Is that a big thing that you trust in as well?
TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
Yeah, absolutely. I trust that everything happens for the best. And oh, by the way, just because you work with a coach doesn't mean you're always going to get it right. But it's about enjoying every turn, right? You might find that, oh, I've been working on this goal for a while. And when you're so close to this goal, you feel like, actually, that's not what I wanted. I've worked with many clients who came to me for one thing and then, by the next session, I'm like, but Lucy, truthfully, I really want that. So in the process of going towards your goal, that's when you take action, you see more clarity. Action always comes with clarity. So if you take that first step, you might realize, hey, that wasn't really for me and I don't feel good about it. And it's okay to pivot. But if you would have never taken that first step, you would have never known.
Yeah, true. And it's really a journey, isn't it? It's not just a set and forget, is it?
Yeah, but it should be a fun journey because so many people ask me, hey, Lucy, how do you stay so motivated? Why are you so motivated? How do you reach your goals? Well, I think the number one reason why you're not reaching any of your goals would be you're not having enough fun.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So I think habits also play a big part too, Lucy. So tell us, what does a typical day look like for Lucy Liu?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for asking this question because habits definitely play a big role. And again, habits, you get to decide what kind of habit you want to instill because habits add up to your whole day. And I think we can look at my schedule, but there's actually no right or wrong schedule or how your day should look like. But it should be in the form of something that keeps you grounded. For me, that's meditation. For some other people, it might be yoga. Whatever the modality is, your calendar needs to be filled with some kind of activity that will keep you grounded and feeling good to start the day, right? And to keep myself motivated, I absolutely love listening to motivational speeches. So that's absolutely on my daily calendar. And since we're talking about calendars, it's a big part of my life to schedule in my non-negotiables first, to schedule my sleep time, my meals, and my fun activities first before opening up work schedules. Because so often we forget to have more fun. And people always say, oh, I wish I had more time for reading. I wish, I worked out. Well, instead of wishing and wanting, schedule them in your calendar first.
I love that because without sort of laying that foundation for you of getting the things that you really need to, get you going in the day, really sort of sets up your day right for you to be able to work well, doesn't it? So then you're not, being dragged down by, oh, I wish I was doing this, I wish I was doing that, because you've already done it.
And when you keep promises to yourself, the more promise you keep to yourself, the more confidence you're going to build. So confidence is like a muscle. We go to the gym to work out our physical muscles, but we also need to work out our mental muscles. And if you keep on doing things as you promise yourself, guess what? Your confidence level will just continue to build and cultivate.
And that's, that's a theme that I'm seeing when I speak to coaches of any kind, is that it's about showing up for yourself, isn't it? And whatever that looks like. And if you can't do that, that's really the foundation of anything you're going to achieve.
Because behind your ears, you're going to have this nagging self-talk. Oh, I should have done the laundry. Oh, I did not do this. Oh, I didn't do that. That's going to feel really bad. And your vibrations will be low. And you know what? Every cell in your body, they're eavesdropping. They're listening to you. So if you have this low energy, guess what? Your cells are all with you, right?
Yeah.
If you have this high energy, high vibration, you're going to be healthy, you're going to be on time, you're going to be having fun and living the life, the epic life that you deserve.
And I can hear the procrastinators out there going, Lucy, you're giving me anxiety. How can I stop procrastinating?
Oh, that is so fun. We procrastinate for so many reasons, but one of the top reasons is fear. And I think a lot of people say they're afraid to fail, but some people are actually afraid to succeed. Some people are afraid to succeed and think of how their family would look at them, their friends, like would they think I'm bragging? Or, if I become successful, right, people will be looking at me. So whether you're on either side of fear, there's so much more on the other side of fear. And you just got to go for it because you get to choose when you see a sign, because people are like, oh, I'm waiting for a sign. But you can give yourself that sign. You can be the sign, right? You can take anything on the street as your sign to do whatever it is that you want.
Absolutely. And I guess this is where we trip over limiting beliefs, isn't it?
Absolutely. Limiting beliefs really are deep in all of us because we hold on to these beliefs for so long that they become the truth for us. And as you mentioned in the beginning, my name is Lucy Liu. So for most of the years in my 20s and 30s, my life was pretty much on autopilot. It was just work, sleep, like, oh, I'm just going to wait around until my dying days. It was boring. There's no meaning for life. So even though life looked successful on the outside, I wasn't truly fulfilled. It didn't excite me, right? As a business owner, it didn't excite me to make sales. Like it didn't excite me to be doing the daily lives until really I became a coach and realized that, what was this limiting belief? If I'm talking the talk, I need to walk the walk. And I realized it's because one part was I had a big problem with my name. It is the name of a big celebrity. You just do not have another Angelina Jolie or Julia Roberts. It's just not possible. But unfortunately, I can't even hate her because I love her. I love Lucy Liu. She's an artist, director, movie star. Oh my gosh, she's so amazing. Like I can't even hate her. And I live in Los Angeles. So I used to make restaurant reservations in my mom's name just so I don't have to hear, are you the Lucy Liu coming in, right? So I was never the Lucy Liu. And I think for you, if you're listening, it might be something else, right? I hear a lot of people, their name's too simple, too hard to pronounce, too hard to, explain the origin or whatever the reason is. Or it could just be simply if you've ever felt less than someone else, or if you felt like you are not as good compared to someone else, or if you've disappointed someone else. If you've ever been there, and I'm sure we've all been there somehow in our life, just know that enough is a decision too. It's not a number. It's not an amount. enough is also a decision, and you get to decide when is it enough.
I was just having that conversation with someone this week. I'm like, you decide that you're enough. Like, nobody else does that. It's all you. And
Yeah.
and it's the same with any of these limiting beliefs. They're all choices we make. It's all the story we tell ourselves. And it's just about changing that narrative and being a bit kinder to ourselves.
Yeah, I absolutely. And that's why I love the name of your podcast, Ethical Change. It's so important that we are making decisions that are ethical, that are aligned, and that is for the better.
And it's also being conscious, you know, as you were saying before, being on autopilot. Like, we need to think before we choose sometimes, you know, instead of relying on autopilot, because that's where we stray away from being ethical and actually making a change in the world that we need to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I first started my podcast, that limiting belief came back again because I felt as a coach, I need to break all my fears. And one of my biggest limiting beliefs besides my name was the fact that I always felt my English wasn't good enough. Like, even though I had straight A's, even though I went to a prestigious college, just because the fact that English wasn't my first language, I always felt behind. I always felt it wasn't good enough. But again, when you let it be about the world, when you let it be about others, right? That breaks your fears. So I set it to be that if I just help the life of one listener, and I've done my part. And then that's bigger than all my limiting beliefs and fears. And I think when we stop thinking about ourselves, when we think more for what we can do for society and for this world, if I'm making a contribution to this world, that becomes bigger than my fears. And that becomes a lot more fun.
And it's very empowering, isn't it? Like, it just gives you, and again, it comes back to motivation. It's just like, this is why I'm doing this, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
absolutely.
And it's funny, you know, us being podcasters. I don't know about you, but sometimes you think nobody's listening to me. Nobody's listening. But then, like, I'll go out and I'll meet people, and they'll be like, "Oh, I've been listening to your podcast." I'm like, "Oh, really?" So you're like, more people are listening than you think, and you're kind of like, "Oh, all right." But I kind of always have this idea that nobody's listening, and that I think that's where I then don't have any fear, because I just go, it just goes out there and whoever needs it picks it up. Do you have that same thing? Do you think, nobody's listening to me?
You know, I really get excited when I get this email from Chartable that says your podcast has dropped out of the ranking in like Puerto Rico, right? I'm like excited. Wow, it was like in the charts to begin with. People are in Puerto Rico are listening. Wow.
Yeah, and it's funny, you know, where you pop up sometimes. It's like, oh, I'm big in Brazil this week. That's great. Now, one thing I noticed about you, Lucy, when I checked you out, was you remind me a lot in your philosophy of Marie Kondo. Can I just say? So,
You're not the first one that said that.
Yeah. And I kind of, I love that philosophy, and I also live by it. Like, there's a challenge with some work that I'm doing at the moment, and I said to someone the other day, I'm going to Marie Kondo this if it doesn't improve, because it is not sparking joy. And this is really the crux of everything that you do, is it's about finding fun and joy in life, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And you know, I've done coaching as well with women where they sit there and you go, okay, well, what's something that brings you joy? And they just can't put a finger on it. Like, I know there's some people I've spoken to where I think 20 minutes I've been digging and digging for just an inch of joy for them. And it's really hard for some people, isn't it?
Yeah, and then it's funny how you mentioned Marie Kondo, because I mean, I'm not a decluttering coach. There are actually decluttering coaches out there and home organization coaches out there. But I absolutely believe that to transform your life, you need to start decluttering your space, right? When you create a cleaner, tidier living environment, you're going to respect yourself more, and it's extremely empowering. And don't overthink it. Just start with a little corner, right? But it's about gaining and regaining control of your life and your surroundings. When you're in control of your space, it will provide that confidence boost too. And you can watch the positive ripple effects.
And really that external presentation is really a representation of our internal environment, isn't it? You know, often if our mindset's not there, our external environment pretty much is a reflection of that. So, you know, if you kind of let things slide a little bit, you know, something's not quite right from the mindset perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about mindset because naturally, obviously, our homes always need regular cleaning and decluttering, right? But you just don't want to feel like it's obligation. You want to have fun. You don't ever want that nagging feeling from anything. Pretty much stress from all walks of life. You want to prevent it instead of dealing with it.
So can you give us some examples, Lucy, of some of the results that people have seen in working with you?
Yeah, I would first, the most obvious is always confidence boost because people come to me with all types of things, like certain things they want in life. But when it boils down in the end, you just need that validation. You need that confidence, that validation that you're on the right tracks, and then that it's okay to go after what you're thinking. It's okay to be you. It's okay to want to live the life of your choosing because there's not one way to live life. And there's no one definition of success. And that your definition is okay. And that's why I support my clients because it's a neutral. I come from a place where I don't judge you or maybe like some of your friends might. Right? So I think that plays the biggest role in the coaching process is where your coach should come from a neutral place to not jump in the pool of your life and your perceived problems and really to see it from a higher perspective where we can bring you to clarity and confidence.
And I would guess that, you know, one of the things that a lot of women who are trying to succeed, I myself also have the same issue, and that is comparisonitis. You know, you're like, yeah, but look at them. They're making it. Why aren't I? Do you see that a lot?
I see that a whole lot because comparison is the thief
Of joy.
all joy. Yeah, it's so true. Like business people. And I'm like, oh, look at them. They're making $1 million. Well, you know what? Some people make $1 million, but they only tell you that. They don't tell you that they've spent 2 million in ads and they're still, living in a rented apartment. So you only see the facade. You only see one side of the story, and then you're stuck there. And then you're blaming yourself for being not as successful, where you could just really be focusing on the right things because what we focus on grows. And if you're focusing on the wrong things, you're not going to go anywhere.
And that's it. You're so right. Nothing is ever what it seems, is it? You know, sometimes when you take a peek behind that curtain, it's not what you thought it was. And when you see the reality, it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should just focus on my backyard. Now, Lucy, if people want to grab your book, check out your podcast, or even get some coaching with you, where can they go?
Absolutely. So if you are on social media, come say hello. I am at Miss Lucy Liu. That's MSLucyLiu. Pretty much everywhere across all social medias. It's at the same handle. So just look it up. If you're on Instagram, just search for that, Miss Lucy Liu. And my podcast is just called The Lucy Liu Show. That's again LucyLiu. Search for it after you listen to this episode and hit subscribe to get your weekly dose of inspiration.
Love it. Love it. Now, Lucy, I can't wait to hear your answer to this question. What's the change you'd like to see in the world and how can we bring it to life?
Oh, I love this question so much because I would like to see everyone in this world to be alive. And that is why you should wake up alive, do what lights you up so that you can feel alive, because this world needs more alive people.
I love that you said that, because I was just, again, saying to someone this week, like, there's people who just don't feel anything. They just go through life just numb, not living their life, but just, yeah. So being alive and feeling it and living it and enjoying it, gosh, we were given it for a reason, right?
Yes, absolutely. There are resources readily available everywhere. If you want to work with me, that's great. If you want to work with Bindi, that's great. If you want to work with a coach, but do something.
Yeah.
Right, with your life and live the epic life of your choosing by your design and have fun along the way.
Oh, Lucy, I am pumped. Thank you so much for joining us on The Ethical Evolution.
Thank you for having me, and to all the beautiful souls listening, blessings are coming your way.
Thanks for listening to the Ethical Evolution podcast. If you're ready to be the change and would love to work with me on finding your voice through spiritual coaching or creating your own podcast with impact, visit ethicalchangeagency.com.
Are you a fan of classic cinema or a young person who wants to discover the best films of all time? Do these legendary movies still hold up?
On the Generation Film podcast, two guys who grew up when movies dominated the culture share a great film with a panel of young movie lovers and see how it plays for today's generation.
We discuss changes in storytelling styles, representation,
The making of each film, its initial reception, and how its meaning has changed over the years.
Join us as we explore cinema classics across generations on Generation Film.
Electricast. Step inside the marketing mirror to uncover marketing secrets, discover gems, tactics, lessons, and campaigns you can use, next gen or fundamentals. Grab the marketing magic to improve your marketing and win more business. Electricast. Electricast.